We're here with Betty. She's a 4-year-old half-draft Percheron quarter horse cross. And we're going to talk a little bit about the role of anticipation in training your horse, in interacting with your horse. A lot of people worry a lot about their horse anticipating things, getting ahead of them, throwing up things they're going to do that they think are coming when they're not asked for. And in fact, that is a concern. But let's also consider that anticipation isn't all bad. Warwick Schiller, who is a pretty good thinker, put it this way: anticipation is your best friend and your worst enemy. And the fact is, out of control anticipation is your worst enemy. Constructively used anticipation works to your benefit. Another way to put it was a statement by Ray Hunt. I was at a clinic starting a colt, and I stayed to watch the horsemanship section with the older horses. And somebody said to him, well, I've got a reining horse, and I'm worried that he's going to learn to anticipate. And Ray said, oh, you want your horse to anticipate. That's a good thing. You want him to anticipate, you just don't want him to act on it. And if you watch a reining horse, say at a high level, like the NRHA Futurity or the Run for a Million, when they run down to a stop, they're running like they never had a thought in the world about doing anything but galloping. They run down there just absolutely committed. But I'll promise you this, every single stride that horse is saying, when are they going to ask me to stop? When are they going to ask me to stop? And for that reason, when you do ask him to stop, the horse is ready and really reacts more perfectly and more promptly. So that's an example there of the horse doing what Ray Hunt said. He anticipates and only acts when he's asked to, but he's ready to act. So I'm going to use Betty to demonstrate, hopefully, a little bit of both how anticipation can be your best friend and also how it can become counterproductive. And I'm going to do that working the gate over here. She's gotten pretty proficient at opening the gate. But I will tell you that she thinks she knows more about opening the gate than I do. So I have to be careful, because if your horse takes over doing a little job like that, your horse may be ready to go through the gate before you're done unlatching it, and it turns ugly. So first of all, I'll give you an example of how I would typically open a gate, and then I'll show you how anticipation can help. So you ride up here and you would more or less side pass to the gate. That's the typical way. But she wants to anticipate the side pass a little bit. She thinks, I'd just as soon get out of the round pen. I don't love it here. I'd like to get outside. I like riding outside a lot better. Let's get on with it. Well, I'm going to use that to my benefit, and I'm going to start the side pass way out here. And because she wants to do that, her side pass there is better than it is just sort of freestyle out in the open. But she's learning the movement by anticipating that. Now, where would that be bad? If she got to where, or any horse that you open a gate on gets to thinking, oh, I'm going to open the gate, I want to get out of here, we're going to pass the gate, maybe I'll just leak over here and go to the gate. And all of a sudden you've got an argument on your hands. Now that was manufactured, but you can see how their anticipation goes from being your best friend to your enemy. So I'm going to use that anticipation again to step her over to the gate from some distance, and then I'm going to continue opening up the gate. Now, she likes to open gates. she thinks it's a good thing. Now, I've worked on this a little, as I unfortunately tend to do, before I made the video. But see, she says, the statute of limitations just ran on you, partner. You were too slow. And I'll say, no, I want to sit there and talk with my friends. You don't get to leave. You got to stand here and grow roots, because there, she anticipated the next thing I'm going to do is pop that latch. She's going to move her hips over just like she did. We're going to open the gate and she's going to go through. There she goes. See, I didn't ask for that. So I'm going to move her back and say, Betty, didn't you know anticipation is my worst enemy? She says, oh, okay, I get it. Now, when I reach down, will she anticipate again? See, it's that subtle. It's that subtle. And you have to be ready to say, no, wait for the cue. Because it might be cool to think it's automatic, but I don't know how you feel about self-driving cars, but I'm leery of them. I don't want a self-driving horse. I want a horse that is confident and that knows what I'm asking and acts when I ask it to, but I don't want the horse taken over. I don't want that self-driving car that might, if there's a computer glitch, drive me over a cliff. Maybe I'm thinking of opening that gate and I see there's a Bengal tiger out there. And I say, well, shoot, I ain't gonna open that gate. And she says, no, let's get to it. Well, Betty, maybe I know better. Sorry, I was just checking for tigers. So let me open this. Now, when I drop that and she hears it jingle, good girl. That's the kind of thing that very often would say to a horse, or to her in particular, time to get on with it. She's starting to resign herself to the fact that maybe I'm in charge. Novel idea. I'm going to move my right leg back and move her hip over. She said to me, you moved your... Now see, she's already opening the gate. I'm not. But Betty, neither are you. So there, again, anticipation is not my friend. So I'll do stuff to provoke her to anticipate things that she shouldn't, because I want to be able to sit here and gesture wildly with my hands as I make my speeches. And I don't want to have to be arguing with my horse to keep her in place. So I've got my hand on the gate. I'm going to move my leg back, shift her hip over. And she says, are we going through? No, we're not going through. And she says, okay, but can we go through? No, we're not going through. Well, could we maybe go through now? No. How about when I say to go through? And there, we're getting rid of some of that anticipation. And it's a familiar job to her, and she's going to learn to do it very precisely, but very precisely when I ask her to. And that will lead to more precision other places, but this is just a good object lesson in anticipation can be your best friend, as in how easily she moves her hips over when I need to open the gate, how easily she'll side pass over to the gate because she knows the job and she knows the maneuver, but also how anticipation can be a negative when she wants to go on through the gate. So I kind of let this build a little bit accidentally, but I thought, well, okay, here's an opportunity to show how you adjust that and say, let's just do this the long way. No shortcuts. Let's take the long cut. She says, I could open this gate so damn much faster than you, and then we could go out and trail ride, which is what she'd really like to do. So she's going to sit there and get a little fussed up, and I'm going to say, no, that's not working. Now, if you had a horse that was really fractious, that was not just anticipating, you probably would not want to dwell here and make a big issue of it. But she knows, so she can wait this out. But I'm not going to be totally insistent. I know there's a limit to her patience, but I don't want her to take charge. Okay, Betty, move over for me. let's open the gate. Now we're going to go through. We're going to move your hip to the left. Okay, and we're going to sit here. I know you know that we back up next. You don't need to back up till I tell you to. You chew on the phone pole there a bit. She says, how about I backed up instead? You know, how about you don't back up? How about you don't back up? So you're teaching your horse patience, and she says, this is freaking ridiculous. And I just inform her that ridiculous is my middle name. Whoa, no, don't get too close. And I'm going to latch that gate. I'm going to take my time doing it. And then she thinks, we're done, let's go. Well, we're done when I say we're done, darling. That's not too bad, though. So we're going to take off. Take that little trail ride she's dreaming of. But think about that in terms of anticipation, working for you or working against you, and how you balance that out. Don't get a self-driving car that's going to drive you off a cliff. Till next time.